Okay, zoom a little bit and get this to zoom. Okay, it's not zooming. Alright, so let's get this started. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, but you want to practice and really know and get good with your chisel. And you want this chisel sharp. And I'll show you how to sharpen this chisel next. Or to keep a sharp chisel sharp. Alright, I've got a very slight angle on this. Alright, and it's kind of working it back and forth. I'm going to pull up the polyurethane. This is a really hard area to sand. Okay? And your chisel can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And you want a sharp chisel. It has to be sharp. Okay? And a sharp chisel, as I'm peeling it, it's coming off. Alright, is, like I say, your best friend or your worst enemy. Now, I'm using my finger on the face frame underneath this chisel as a gauge to keep me away from the paper down here, alright? I forget what this is called at the moment. Anyways, this paper you put down here, the shelving paper, right to that outer edge, okay? And you want to lock your wrist in place. Just want to kind of hand and pivot at the elbow, at the shoulder, holding your arm, your wrist, right locked in place, alright? As I'm getting this. This is very difficult. You can deform these edges of your face frame really easy. You can get in here and sand in here where you don't want. Alright, now this is going to, this contact paper here, it's going to be replaced. That's what it's called. And you see I'm right here on top of the contact paper, scraping this poly that was put down by the previous owners when they stained this cabinet, okay, 20 years ago. They could have taken some paint thinner and cleaned it up when it was wet, or even a little lacquer thinner on it, just dampen a rag with it. Alright, now see, I've got my finger right here as a gauge, sliding it on the face frame and getting the corner right here of the chisel to the outer edge of that paper, alright? Then I just hold it in that spot as I come forward. But I highly recommend that you practice before trying to do this, because you can really, it'll grab and then you'll push and you'll peel up wood, right? Or you start boogering it up. So you really got to get familiar. Now I'm going with the grain, okay? I'm not going across the grain. I am going with the grain. Now, I'm going to come right down in here and pull back. And pull back. Pull back. Get right down in there and pull back. Okay, you can hear it cutting and pulling. Alright. Now you can flip this around as well. Get it right into that corner. It's always best to flip that around and get in there. Okay, now you can start boogering up your stile right here. If you're not careful as you're trying to clean up the rail down here. Then you just come down here. You got a little bit right here on the stile. Okay. Yeah, got a little wood right there. Okay, so you really got to be careful and understand exactly what you're doing, so you know what you can and cannot get away with. That takes practice. and experience, of course, over time. These are the things these custom woodworkers aren't really showing because they don't want to get you in trouble, cause you to make a mess. And but if you practice this, I can't stress practicing this enough, you can do the same thing. You know, get some cans of lacquer, get some paint on, a can of lacquer, and wipe some wood down, smooth piece of wood, and let it dry for a few days, 2-3 days. Then come back and practice scraping this off, and you will develop the skill for this, you know, pretty quick, depending on the skills you presently have now and how familiar you are. See, there's quite a bit of lacquer on polyurethane there, okay? And sanding this, you would end up deforming this here, okay? You would start making it shape. This would get ground down around a convex, you know, spot. I mean, with this chisel you can gouge and make it ugly, and drop this down below this, and going to get a little, you know, it can just get all screwed up. But again, that's why I say practice this first, before you do the real thing. You know the old saying, if you haven't heard it, you're going to hear it now. Practice makes something. What does practice make? Practice makes perfect. Okay, now we're redoing this contact paper, but if we wasn't, I'm treating this as if this contact paper was not being reused. Okay, and then the other thing I would do when I go to stain this, I would mask this off with tape right along this edge. Then I would come back with paper, put it on top of that tape. Then I would tape over the paper on top of the tape that I just ran across this edge. And that guarantees, see, this right here, I just pulled this up and you can't even see it down here. This is like, you're not seeing it because it just blends right in. All right? And you would never know that that was left on there. Then you'd go to stain, you'd be going, why isn't the stain taken? Well, it could be wax in the wood from when they stained this, or it's your sealer, it's your clear coat, whether it's poly or whether it's lacquer. All right, but this is definitely poly, that I do know. See, this is clear coat coming off, this is poly. Which would prevent this edge from taking the stain. Now, you can take your stain if you've got a can of stain, not a spray, but just a pint, quart, gallon. And you can take your stain and mix it into your polyurethane. And then then your wood isn't necessarily stained. The stain is in the clear coat itself. And that's a stainer's technique. All right. Sometimes you need to do that for making something look better or improving the overall appearance on just a reface. You know. You just want to kind of refurbish it and kind of give it a facelift, I should say. So if we're doing a facelift on the cabinet, that would work great. It would save you time, save you money, just by mixing your stain into your clear coat. And then applying your clear coat to the surface of your wood. The more layers, the darker it gets. Now remember, on a facelift, where you're just going over the surface, okay, then you can sand it all the way down to the bare wood, and there will still be stain left in the wood. Okay, you just sand the clear coat off. You will take the majority of the stain with it. There will still be stain left in the wood. Then you go over it, and you can either spray it or you can use a wipe on or brush on poly, which is in a can. Alright, now I'm going to come back here right in that corner and pull back. So anyways, and you will be able to give your cabinets a facelift for pennies. Alright? Just by doing that. Again, I'll go back through that process. Sand the clear coat off of your cabinet or whatever it is you're going to stain, you want to give a facelift. Okay? And you can see the poly being removed. And then, if you're going over poly, if there's poly left on the surface, and you're just giving it a facelift, you don't have to get it completely off. Like I mentioned in my other video, that poly, you can layer poly, remember. Whether it's old poly or new poly on top of old poly, you can layer poly. Now, I haven't really gone over old poly with new poly. Alright? But it should work. It should take it, okay? It may not meld together, and it may, but it will stick and you'll have no issues. That I do know. Inexpensive way to give your cabinets a facelift. A gallon of poly is about 50 bucks. A gallon of poly will do a whole kitchen. You should have polyurethane left over. Okay. Yeah, let me check this right here. Yeah, I'm getting some there. Alright, so I just wanted to show you know what can be done here. Alright, now we're going to do this side. So, to give your cabinets a facelift with little money, 50 bucks for a gallon of polyurethane, 80 grit sandpaper, 320 grit sandpaper, and you can do it. Now, you may want to purchase some 120 sandpaper and go from 80 to 120, and then from 120 to 320 as a finish for your finish sanding. Now, sanding between coats, if you do on any time you're using poly or lacquer, all right, you can go 80, 320, or you can go 80, 120, okay, and then finish it off. It's almost like a polish coat, polish sanding, and you go to 320. You can go to auto body and you can go up to 600 if you like, but okay, you can see fitting this off. All right, this is old poly right on top, of this outer edge. And then this is getting kind of boogered up here, see? There's a tack paper right there. Alright. So I'm just trying to smooth out that edge. Okay. I've got right here in this corner, you can see right over here. Alright, now let's see if I can't zoom. Alright, zoom. There we go. See if I can't zoom a little more in there. Alright, let's get this up a tad. Okay, now. Now, I'm just about ready to dig in to this edge of this face frame and gouge it out. See, almost, that was really close, as I'm getting this clear coat off of here. Okay. Now, and this is where I'm going to pull it upward. All right. I'm pushing in and I'm pulling up. You can see it's being removed. All right. Done. All right. If I would have went forward, I would have gouged it. I would have just taken hollow, put a little concave cut area right in this spot right in here. If I would have continued to cut downward. All right, so in that corner, remember you can pull this, turn this around and get dead into that corner. That gets you dead into that and dead on. I mean, you hit the bullseye of that corner. All right, just by flipping the blade around, getting this part right in there. All right. So, when I started my channel, I started this channel. When I started Easy 2 Tips and Tricks, and I started Easy 2 Tips and Tricks, it was to make a difference, to show those looking for information how to do the job up close and personal. You know, if I'm over here doing this and you can't see what I'm doing, what's it good does it do you to watch it? I'm wasting your time. And so I'm making these videos for the purpose of helping that person that's looking for the information. You know, everybody wants to keep the tricks of the trade to themselves. They don't want you to compete. You know, if you don't know it, you don't have a family member or a boss showing you, then, you know, they don't want you to know. They don't want you taking their job. Well, you may not want their job, you just want to know how to do it. You know, even if friends don't always want to tell you. So I'm here to make the difference. All right, I'm starting to dig. I'm starting to barely dig into the wood, and I want to keep this pristine edge. Okay, I want to keep this edge pristine. I want to keep that edge as perfect and as straight and as beautiful as possible, because I dug in right here at this point just a 30-second, but that was a 30-second too much. So I'm straightening it out. And that you can fix, but you got to know what to do. You got to know where to do it, you know. I come across here, pressed in, to kind of cut anything that might have been loose here. I come back here to cut this back and to cut this back. Okay, to keep that corner, put that corner back into its position. But you got to be careful. All right, I think I see some shine right here. That may or may not be. Now, like I said, if I was just going to go over this with poly, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't be trying to remove this like this, because the poly is going to grab. Okay, but you see, there it is. I'm peeling it up now. I'm catching that poly that's remaining here. I can see the slight shine on the wood. I'm going little circular motions right here. Okay, little bitty circular motions as I go forward. All right. And anyways, so if you're just doing a facelift on your cabinets, again, you don't want to spend much money, you don't have much money, or you just want, you know, a nice clean look. Sand it down. Remove the top coat and go over it. Now you got to know if it's poly there. I'll tell you how to know if it's poly or lacquer. If you buy poly, I recommend if you go to do this, you buy you a can of poly first. Okay, before you sand anything down, buy a can of poly and spray it over the top of the surface of your cabinet, whether it's a door, countertop, side panel, and you spray it with poly. If it's a lacquer finish that's on that cabinet, and you spray it with polyurethane, you are going to end up with a white haze look. All right? And so that way you don't make the mistake. See? That's on the tack paper here. Contact paper. So you just sand it off. And then you use a lacquer finish on the surface. And then you don't have to go all the way down to the bare wood. Okay? Unless you're going to stain it a different color to start with. Okay? So this is stainer's knowledge, techniques that they don't want the homeowner to know. They're just gonna love me, let me tell you. This is shop information I'm giving you. And I got some lacquer right here on that edge. Okay. You really got to be ultra careful here so you don't disturb that corner, and I may. But I am doing my best here not to. Just pull back. I'm gonna pull back. Okay, pull this back. Keep it flat with the face of the face frame. Pull that back. Okay. Pull this back, and then I'm going to slightly go across this edge at a slight angle here. I can see the color. There's a little shine. Alright, I could use sandpaper on that. That I could. Okay. Oh, you're not seeing at all what I'm doing. Okay, I was just catching this edge this way. Getting the stain off of the outer edge of this corner right here. Okay, I was just starting to catch the edge. Okay, I just started to booger that up. Okay. Okay, now I'm just going to lightly hit this, very lightly on that corner, just to knock down the stain and the poly that's on it, lightly. Then I can come in here with my finger and catch this again, keeping it away from the contact paper here. Because the only thing I'm concerned about at the moment is this outer corner on the face frame. Okay. You could use a sanding block for this as well. Alright, this is a 120 grit. Okay. I'm going to hit this with the 320 here. When I'm done. Okay. Okay, now we're going to come in here. Again, staying away from the contact paper. Right here we go. Staying away from the contact paper. Okay, now we've got this folded over flat, alright, so we can get right into there. And again, if I was gonna use this contact paper, I'd have tape running across this edge and it would not be exposed. But I'm treating it as if it was, even though I'm gonna be going over it. Putting in new contact paper. Okay, she's a beaut. And let's come over here to this side. Okay, I'm gonna catch this over here. what I'm talking about. Willis, who remembers that show? Well, the funny thing is I'd never really watched it. But I remember that saying, what's up with that? No, I mean, I watched it once in a while. But point is it's not like I watched it all the time. It sticks out, stands out. I'm talking about. All right, it's looking good. All right, now. There you go. Remember, practice. Get some poly. Get a 2x4, I don't care, 2x6, go get some old cabinet doors or something. Go to cabinet shop and ask if they have any doors that you could have because you want to practice sanding and staining. You know? I bet they'll give them to you. I bet they will. Alright, now let's get this arranged over here. Alright, because I see a little bit of shine in here. Although that's looking pretty good. Just may need to hit it with the sandpaper. Okay, you don't want to touch this with your sandpaper. Alright. Again, you always want tape on everything. You want to mask it off. Alright, I think we're gooder than new. Almost gooder than new anyway. Alright, let's move it over here. Okay. And this is a shadow you're seeing right here. That's just a shadow. Alright, get my other light on here. Oh, get that light on. Okay. Now, this is a little stain, a little poly. So again, if you want to test what's on the surface, you take poly, take a can of spray, a rattle can, spray can of polyurethane, and spray a coat, a mist on the surface. Let it dry. If it dries and you've got a smoky white haze on your surface, you know it is lacquer. And you want to finish it with the lacquer unless you sand it all the way down. Okay, now if you go to repair or work on something and you're spraying a polyurethane on it to finish off what you're doing, and it turns a white haze, sand it down lightly with 320, go over it with lacquer thinner, and then spray it with your lacquer and you'll be fine. That's how you fix that. Again, that's a trick of the trade. I'm starting to booger this up. But as my dad's friend used to say, if you make a mistake, can you fix it? Do you know what to do to fix a mistake if you make a mistake? Because you're going to make them. You know, so making mistakes are part of the learning curve. Except that's not something you want to do on the job. I stress that. Unless your boss knows you're learning. But then your mistakes, he is going to expect to be limited. So guess what? Go home and practice. Whatever it is you're doing on the job, practice it at home. Perfect it at home. And your boss will see your improvements and respect that. And you may get moved up. You may start making more money. Maybe you become a foreman as an end result. So, word to the wise. Practice at home. Okay. Looks like I'm done. All right. Well, I look forward to hear from you. If you see this video in a month from now and leave me a comment in my most recent video. Tell me you will watch whatever video it was. And on my most recent video. Now you can leave me a comment on that video itself. But to ensure that I get your comment and know that you've been there, go to my most recent video and leave me a comment. That would be great. I'd love to hear from you. Alright, as I'm doing a little touch up here. Okay, and I'm talking about high quality work. Doing high quality work. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Right, next I'm going to hit this with 320. Then it will be ready for stain. I may go use a sand sealer on this countertop. And I may videotape that as well. So, like, comment, share, put in a playlist, tell a friend. I look forward to hearing from you. And never give up, because there's always a way. Always. Catch you on the next one. God bless. Bye for now.